Alright folks, so today I'm going to do another recipe review from a meal kit service. Today is Martha and Marley Spoon. These guys are inspired by Martha Stewart's recipes. What we're doing today is a buffalo glazed chicken breast. The billing on this one is it's chicken wings without the extra fat and without the extra mess, inspired by those buffalo chicken wings. We're going to do it with a breast of chicken, and then essentially a chopped salad with carrots, with lettuce, some creamy dressing. Again, kind of inspired by that blue cheese and the side of celery and carrots. Looks good. Let's see how it comes together. I'm going to follow the card like we always do and see how they did with the ingredients, the instructions, and the taste. Okay guys, so we're going to go ahead and prep our ingredients. The first thing we're going to do is make some croutons. Actually, we're going to prep our ingredients first. One of which is cutting up some bread with which we will make some croutons. And it basically asks us to dice up this piece of bread. They sent kind of what they call a mini French roll. And easiest thing to do is go ahead, if you got a good sharp bread knife, cut it into what do you call those? Planks maybe, and then go through, cut them into sticks. Like that. You can do a few at once. You get these little batons, as they're called. And then one more cut down, and then we've got our cubes. And that's going to be our croutons. We'll throw those off in a bowl here. We've got some garlic. Easiest way to peel a piece of garlic, cut off the root end, not the pointy end. Give it a little smash. And then grab the pointy end. You should be able to just manipulate and the paper comes off real easy like that. Give our garlic a smash. Give it a rough chop. And then I've got another bowl. You know, when you're doing prep like this, I find it really nice to have just little bowls around where you can throw everything in, to keep everything nice and organized. And then every once in a while just wipe down the cutting board. We're going to do carrots now. So we're going to take the ends off the carrots, then we're going to peel the carrots. I'm not going to show you how I peel. Pretty plain peeling, right? We'll come back when I show you how to dice these up in the shape that Martha wants them in. Alright guys, so we're back with our peeled carrots. I already chopped one up. What we're going to do, it says cut them lengthwise. I actually think it's going to be easier to cut it in half first, then cut it lengthwise. You got a flat side, put the flat side down, and then cut at the diagonal. So we're going to go like this, like this, like this, like this, and then you start getting these long, thin strips of carrot. We'll do one more time with the diagonal cuts. Now these are going to be eaten they're going to be eaten raw. So you don't want them too big. You want them to be able to easily be eaten. We're going to finish up our carrots here. I got another bowl handy. We're going to throw these into. And then we're going to do our lettuce. Carrots actually, they look good, but frankly carrots are pretty easy to keep fresh and clean. What I actually am really impressed at, this head of romaine, to me looks really good. It doesn't have a whole bunch of really tough outside leaves, so I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to take the root off, that's garbage, and then what's it telling me to do? Trim the core ends, and then cut in half lengthwise. That's this way. So we're essentially just making some bite-sized pieces. Cutting anything like this, lengthwise, then put it on the flat side, and then go through, cut it this way. If you don't like these, the ends get kind of thick, not your bag, just go ahead and take them off. If you like thicker pieces of lettuce, go ahead. I would keep the tops a little bit bigger, and these, the ends, which are kind of thicker, tougher, I'd cut them a little bit smaller. We'll take our romaine, which is going to be in our bowl there. We'll get the other half. Again, for me, a little bit finer, closer together, chopped down here, and as you go up the leaves, get a little bit bigger, so you got leafier pieces. We're going to throw that in there. One thing I'd recommend, it doesn't necessarily say this on the recipe, but lettuce, if you got room in the fridge, I'd go ahead and take the lettuce and throw it in the fridge, just because heat is not a friend of lettuce, whereas cold is. It'll keep it fresher, keep it crisper just while we're cooking everything up. So I'm going to clean up a little bit, then we're going to cook our croutons. Alright, so we're going to make our croutons. Here's our bread, here's a pan. You don't need a non-stick pan for this, it's perfectly fine to use whatever you got. Over medium heat. This is the pan we're going to cook the chicken in, so I suggest a fairly good pan, nice heavy bottom on it. It says, they say that about me, it says put about 1.5 tablespoons of oil in the pan. I'm going to use olive oil. And this is going to absorb, or the breadcrumbs are going to absorb that oil as they cook. Just come in, give them a little toss. If you got a pair of tongs, you don't have to go crazy with anything. But we're going to just cook these over medium heat. And essentially that olive oil is going to heat up. It's going to kind of start frying the bread. We're going to add a pinch of salt in there. And this is how you make homemade croutons. Imagine you can throw, and we're going to throw a little bit of garlic in there at the end, but you can do all kinds of things, add some spices, add whatever you want to make these croutons really nice. This is a great technique that they're giving us. So you don't have to constantly move them, just check on them every 30 seconds or so. The undersides are obviously going to toast first. We'll toss them, we'll get them all nice and golden brown. Okay, so our bread is getting toasty. It's just kind of lightly sizzling in there, lightly toasting. You want to be careful not to burn it, because bread will go from toasted to dark brown a little too much pretty quickly. I've got the garlic that we chopped before, and I'm just going to add half of it. And now all of a sudden we've got homemade garlic croutons. Alright, so I added half the garlic to our croutons and just let that wilt down, let the garlic soften for about 30 seconds or so. You definitely don't want to overcook or burn the garlic, or it'll get nice and bitter. But you can see how toasty brown our croutons got. I'm going to go ahead, put it back in the same bowl here. I just lined it with a little piece of paper towel. And then we're going to get the croutons in there, and the paper towel is just going to kind of suck up any of the excess oil that drains out of the croutons. You can go ahead and try one, because homemade croutons are awesome. I'm going to go ahead and wipe out this pan. We're going to use this to cook our chicken once we prep it. Alright, so I unpacked our chicken breasts from the packages, patted them dry with paper towels. I'm going to give Martha and Marley Spoon some nice props here, because they're doing the chicken just like I would do it. I'm going to show you a little trick though. They suggest pounding the chicken out a little bit just to get even thickness, about 1/2 inch. Use a meat mallet to do so, or a heavy skillet. So here's my little trick. I am going to do the same thing. By the way, I'm using a plastic cutting board for raw chicken. Easier to clean. My trick, so put the chicken in a little Ziploc bag. Let me just move this cutting board out of the way. Ziploc bag, in goes a little bit of oil. I'm using olive oil, but use anything you want. You're really just looking for lubrication there. Press the air out, seal it, work the oil around to get the plastic and the chicken nice and slick. Now these chicken breasts are pretty thin already, so they don't need a ton of pounding. But if yours do, this is my favorite tool of choice. I've got a wine bottle here, screw top. I drank the wine, of course, and then I filled it up with water to give it some weight, and then I just lightly tap the thickest part of the breast. Feel it. That feels about as thin now, or as thick as this other side. This guy, a little bit different. This is much thinner than this part over here. So I'm gonna lightly pat, 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 get that down until where it's again an even thickness. Again, I find this much easier, much better than the mallet, because of the rounded edges. The mallets, I think, tend to the edges of it kind of leave a imprint and almost tear the chicken sometimes. So we got our chicken breasts pounded out. Again, love the technique and the suggestion. I'm going to pull them out of the bag and put them back on my cutting board. The other thing I'm going to give these guys props for is a simple instruction to say season well all over. Most people under-season food, particularly meat like this. When it goes in the pan, a bunch of the seasoning falls off in the pan, and people tend to put too little on there. So, salt and pepper, a nice amount on one side. We're going to flip it over. Salt and pepper, a nice amount on the other side. If, by the way, as you're pounding it out, if you end up tearing the chicken, not a big deal. Don't worry about it. It'll still taste absolutely fine. It'll cook fine. Not a thing to worry. So I like to season these, let them go for about 5 minutes or so, let the seasoning kind of melt. The salt's actually going to melt down there, and then we're going to cook these up. Let's go ahead and start up our chicken, cooking our chicken. I've got a pan that's already on kind of medium-high heat. You don't want to go into a cold pan with the chicken. You want to get some good sear on it. You don't need to go crazy with it, but you definitely want to hear, as we lay in the chicken, a nice sizzle. That's going to give caramelization. That's going to give more flavor. I got it going. So there we go. There we go on this one. Once you lay it in the pan, don't touch it, don't flip it, you don't need to do anything. You can maybe move it around, just make sure the oil is getting coated everywhere. And just let it sear for about 3 minutes on this first side. Alright, so my chicken is on the stove, and if you're reasonably quick, you can get this dressing made while the chicken is cooking. I got some mayo on my hand. Into a bowl goes a little bit of mayo, the package that they gave me. And I got some apple cider vinegar in this cute little shampoo-like container. That's going to go in there along with our garlic that we didn't use for the croutons, a pinch of salt, a pinch of pepper, and a couple tablespoons of oil. I'm using canola oil. It says to use a neutral oil. Vegetable oil will be fine. You can measure it out. I'm not too worried about measuring it out. And we're just going to whisk this together until it's all incorporated and creates a nice creamy dressing for us. I think that's good. All right, that's our dressing. Let's go check on our chicken. All right, so I can see the chicken around the edges is turning opaque or white from the pink upside. And when we flip it over, if you left it alone, you should have a nice brown crust. It shouldn't really be sticking at all. Again, remember this is a non-stick pan. I'm going to let it go for about 2 to 3 more minutes on this side, and that's going to cook it through. And then we're going to build our buffalo sauce right in the pan here. Okay, so the chicken now has gone on the second side for about 3 or 4 minutes. It's not going to get as dark because we cooked it about 60–70% of the way through on one side. I washed my tongs, by the way, because it's now fully cooked chicken, or almost cooked chicken. There's probably 1 minute left maybe to get the center done. I'm going to turn the heat all the way down, and our instructions are to add our 2 pats of butter and let those melt. This is why I'm turning the heat down, is there's plenty of heat in the pan to melt that butter, and I don't want it to burn on me. So we're going to just spread it around. Butter obviously makes just about anything nice and tasty. And then, once it's melted, I'm going to add our buffalo sauce, which I tasted on its own. And it's got that nice vinegary tang to it. It definitely has some heat to it. So, be mindful of that if you're gun shy about getting too hot. And then you want to go ahead and just kind of turn the chicken a little bit. Keep it over low heat. It's going to just kind of simmer, and the sauce is going to form into, essentially a coating, right? Just a little bit thicker as it cooks. Again, low heat. You don't want to burn anything. I'm just going to let this go for like another minute or 2. We'll do a final coating on the chicken, and then chicken will be done. We'll make our salad and serve it up. Okay, so I'm going to kill the heat from our chicken now. It's looking fine, and actually that sauce is going to thicken a little bit as the pan cools down. So I'm going to let the chicken just kind of rest in the plate right here, off the heat. Let's go ahead and make our salad, and then we'll come put it all together. All right, so I just took the chicken off the heat. We've got our romaine lettuce here. Excuse me. And we're gonna go ahead and make our salad. These are our slivered, I'll call them, carrots are gonna go in there. We came with some parsley, and the parsley goes in there, which is a nice color accent and gives a little bit of that peppery flavor. Our garlic croutons in as well. One more, you don't want to get in the way. So again, one of the things I really like about this recipe card is it's definitely reminding you to season as you go. It says to season, salt and pepper to taste. And then we've got our dressing here, which we mix together all over the top. And I'm going to use our spatula to make sure we get all of it in there. If you needed to, use a little bit more if the salad is dry for you. Go ahead and add a little bit more like olive oil or olive oil vinegar in there is going to give some additional flavor. But frankly, this looks like it's coating the salad just fine. You want to give it a toss everywhere. Give the lettuce a taste. I'm going to go just a little bit more salt on it. And then chicken is rested, salad is made. Let's plate this guy up. Alrighty, so our salad. This is a nice hefty portion. We're going to plate it up right here. And then we'll go a little more. Make sure we get an even distribution of those croutons especially. And then, because I forgot my tongs, I'm just going to use my asbestos hands. Not to be confused with my something I probably shouldn't say. And then we've got this extra buffalo sauce in the pan. We're going to drizzle that right over the chicken, and that's how she's supposed to look. Make sure we get our plate nice and clean. So this is our buffalo glazed chicken with a salad. There's homemade croutons in there. Let's go ahead and give our chicken some taste. Nicely cooked through, not overcooked. Definitely has that chicken wing flavor. Obviously without the fat and grease of the skin on those wings. And then I'm going to get a salad. I'm dying to get a crouton on there. And that's a nice balance as well. Again, it's that whole celery and carrot thing with the wings. This, again, really simple to do. I'm giving a thumbs up to this recipe from Martha and Marley Spoon. Give it a try and let me know how it goes. Alright, so final thoughts on Martha and Marley Spoon's buffalo glazed chicken. I think it's a good recipe. It delivers on expectations. The sauce is what you'd expect. That sweet, vinegary, tart, spicy sauce is absolutely great. Coats the chicken. The chicken breast was tender, juicy, good quality recipe. And really it's that contrast between the heat of the glaze and the fresh salad, which is that play on the buffalo wings with the creamy dressing on there. Again, simple directions, good taste. I go ahead, give it a try, and give this one my thumbs up.